From the heart of Maine, this is the DuView Podcast.
All right, and welcome to this week's episode of the DuView Podcast. I am your host, Du, a.k.a. Ryan Dumont. And this week I'm joined by Augusta native and fellow Maine Outdoorsman, Mr. Sean Zubrod. Sean, buddy, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah, of course. So, Sean, you grew up in the area, correct? You're Augusta original?
Yep, born and raised in Augusta.
Yep, so you did a lot of the same things. Just to preface, Sean and I went to school together. You've been a year ahead of me. Literally forever, and will continue to probably be a year ahead of me, right? Now, Sean was a year ahead of me in grade school and high school, and we just kind of knew a lot of the same people, and we're always friendly towards each other and have a great mutual love of the outdoors in the state of Maine.
Yep, absolutely.
So, it was great to, have you, when you reached out, have you on and, talk about, we'll get into unpack this all in just a minute, but Sean recently, within the last year, finished up his trek of the Appalachian Trail. So we'll get into that in just a minute, but right before that, Maine is our home. So what is your favorite part about Maine? What do you like about calling Maine home?
Yeah, so I've haven't really lived in lots of places around the country, but I've seen a lot, and Maine is always like the top choice for me. I mean, we got the mountains, we have the ocean, the lakes and stuff.
We have 4 seasons.
4 seasons. I even wrote that down. 4 seasons. It's big. But yeah, Maine just has a great variety to it, and something, if you like outdoor recreation, it's a place to be. And also, like, the people are just so nice and stuff around here. It's kind of a cool community that Maine has.
Right, from Fort Kent to York, you most of the time get some pretty friendly folks. Nice, even if you're not from the area, like you say, "Oh, I'm from Augusta." They're like, "Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I know so and so."
Right.
9 times out of 10, you probably know them.
Exactly. Yeah, small world around here for sure.
But that has its pros and its cons. Obviously, if you like small town America, you do something, everybody knows about it. But also at the same time, you get those real roots of community. I had Al Cloutier on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and we talked about really the community aspect of Augusta and how things have changed, pretty dramatically over the years. And I mean, you being of the same generation as me, we've pretty much seen the same side of Augusta. So is there anything specific that you like about Augusta, growing up in Augusta, reflecting back on things, in the past and childhood versus now? Like, what's kind of changed for you, being in Augusta, at age 3 versus at age, 26?
Yeah, so I always think the sense of community in Augusta was like really top shelf.
Yep.
I remember I used to work at Hannaford in high school and just like running into everybody, like everybody's parents, and I think everybody was just so nice to each other. That was like a big thing for me.
Yep.
But coming back, so I went to Farmington, and then I lived in South Portland, and now I live in Windham, and I'm up in Augusta a few nights a week while I'm in school.
Yep.
But the business side of Augusta's kind of taken off. I mean, Water Street's
up.
picking up and stuff like that. So it's cool seeing that happen.
Right, and I mean, I've talked about this numerous times on the show before, but seeing downtown as a prosperous area, and instead of, I hate to say a slum, but I mean, it was pretty run down before. It was pretty rough, and I mean, talking with different folks from city council to, coaches, to different folks. I mean, everybody has something good to say about downtown now.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was after college was the first time I walked downtown. I'm like, this is the first time I've walked on this street. So
yeah, no, same here. I mean,
it's definitely coming.
Or like, having 2-way traffic. I mean, I know I was down being in New Hampshire for school and then coming back. It's like, holy crap, downtown's a 2-way street now. Gotta get used to that. It's still weird. I don't know if you come across Water Street on the bridge and you take the left onto Water Street. It
doesn't feel right.
Weird.
I did this morning. I did the rail trail. I biked it, and that was weird. It's still weird doing that.
it's still well, even though that it's been a couple years now anyway. It has to have been. But you're still getting used to that. I guess we're just so used to and ingrained in our ways up here that we just go, change, shoot.
Rewire the brain.
Got to, really. So your favorite state activities, obviously hiking's a big one. What else do you like to do in the Pine Tree State?
So definitely hiking, hunting too. I used to do that a lot.
Yep.
But then when I was on the trail, I was thinking how cool it'd be to get a sea kayak. So when I got back, got a sea kayak.
Right.
My
Nice.
roommate was a guide for Portland Paddle, so we did
cool.
a few overnights on the islands in Casco Bay, which was sweet.
And there are plenty of them.
There's a lot, yeah, and really nice tent spots and stuff. And
Yep.
then getting into biking too.
Yep. Cycling's
Yeah.
always a good time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're so lucky to have the rail trail here, like
Yeah.
you just mentioned here in Augusta. I mean,
Yeah.
especially when it warms up. I mean, I used to do the whole right down to Gardner. You
Yep.
know, and it's great. It's a great turnaround. I guess it's the Greenway or something, or the Thruway Trail on the other side that kind of like goes down by the old Am High and the Arsenal. It's like a
Okay.
dirt trail. It goes by like Fort Western and the playground and the boat landing that's over there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go all the way down, obviously. It'd be cool to have two like connecting opposite recreation trails on either side with like a footbridge or a wire suspension bridge in the
Oh,
middle.
yeah.
Think about how awesome that.
That'd be
I mean,
sweet.
that'd be a big draw. I know I'd probably be a little bit more physically fit if I could, you know. You go down one side of the river and come back the other. I
Yeah,
don't know. Like I
that
think
would be
that's the type
sweet.
of stuff we need up here.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think it's kind of moving in that direction.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I feel like that's definitely accurate. I mean, it's just continuing to to see like this positive change we're seeing. You
Yes.
hope to see it just continue and to continue to create more opportunities.
Yep.
So as a fellow Maine young person, do you feel that speaking of opportunities, do you feel like this state has enough opportunities for young folks?
Yeah. So coming out of college, I graduated Farmington with a business degree,
Mhm.
and I kind of did struggle finding, something
Yeah.
that would fit for me. I was able to find an internship in Portland,
Yep.
and during that internship, I realized desk life was not for me.
No.
So
It's not for me either.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to figure that out, and it's like, oh, I don't like sitting in one place. for
yeah,
too
can't
long.
do it. No
Yep.
windows or anything.
Oh,
So then from there, I went into tree work, and then you can work anywhere for tree work in Maine,
Right.
and then going into lineman school, I'll come out and have plenty of job opportunities
Oh,
around the state.
most
so,
definitely.
So definitely the trades around here they're pretty good for that.
Yep. As I've also as we were just talking, as
Yeah.
I've come to realize in the last 6 months to a year too. I mean, I made the switch, political science to, all the other things I've described before for work on the podcast.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have to tell that story again.
Yeah.
But, now to become an electrician or, on my way to, working, and learning and becoming, a full-fledged,
Yeah.
full badge.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to, put my time in and go to school and
Yeah.
or get my schooling done and become a journyman, sit for my test and become a journeyman and then a master there on
Yep.
like you
Climbing
said, the
that ladder.
yeah,
It's-
literally. I mean more so for you. Actually, I guess you guys really don't use ladders, you use buckets, but
Yeah, yeah.
still, like literally. I mean, I climb ladders every day. I was on a ladder as of like 20-30 minutes
Yeah.
ago, but yeah, literally climbing the ladder and the upward mobility in the state. I see a lot of our opportunities, like you said, coming from the trades.
Yeah, big time.
And I
Big
think
time.
that segueing, I think we kind of need to because neither of us, you wouldn't have done CATC
No.
at Coney.
Yeah.
Or, for those that don't know, CATC is like the shop trade program
Yep.
over at the high school or for the surrounding area. Really, not just for Coney. It's for Erskine and
Yep.
bunch of other schools in
Gardner,
the
I
area.
think,
Gardner,
and-
yeah,
yeah.
Halldale,
Yeah.
all the surrounding Augusta areas, schools for the most part. But that being said, though, yeah, neither of us are now in the or you're going to be entering the trades soon. I'm already half in the trades,
Yep.
and yeah, neither of us took advantage of those VOTEC programs.
Yeah.
And maybe
It didn't
maybe
really ring a
should've.
bell. I
Right, yeah.
definitely, if I could do things over, like I appreciate my experiences at Farmington and stuff. But
I
if
appreciate.
I
I
were to
I get
do
it.
things over, like things would be different.
I-
Trades all the way for
I
me. for sure.
completely agree. I mean, like you see it, like it's not instant money, but you
Right.
see the money is there.
Oh, for sure.
So if you put in your time, you're gonna end up comfortable.
Big time. Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people. I mean, not only do we have the needs and the the demand for it here, but also a lot of folks in Maine they don't need to be uber wealthy. They
Right.
need to be comfortable.
Exactly.
And that's why I
Yeah.
think I mean that's a lot of just blue collar, hardworking, small town America types. Just trying to make a comfortable. No, again, don't need to be millionaires or billionaires. Don't get me wrong. I'd love $1 million.
Yeah,
If anybody
would
has
you?
$1 million hanging around, please, I'll
Little
give you my
donation.
address. Yeah, you can wire it to this account.
Yeah.
No. But but seriously, I think that's what makes our state unique. And I like I said, the opportunity. And I found the same problem when I got out of school.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, okay, I just did this, big job in New Hampshire, and I'll come back and I'll have no problem finding a job. Well, that was not the case,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As we've talked about. So outside of work, though, when we're doing our recreational, as I mentioned, hikes. What would you say your top hike in the state of Maine would be? Your top couple, if you had, favorite,
Yeah.
either based on view or whatever the challenge or whatever you
Yeah.
get out of hiking.
Katahdin.
Yep.
Katahdin's number one.
Yep.
I didn't hike
that's
it.
fair.
I didn't hike it until I finished the trail, so having that as like the end cap was pretty wild.
Yeah.
But such a technical mountain, and like the views of it, it's crazy. It's unlike anything else on the trail.
I can't say that, but I mean, it's unlike anything really to climb, even just in the state.
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to go up a mile high.
That's,
That's the first, or almost a mile high. I think even going back to Mr. Hicks, geography class in 7th grade, it's rounded off. It's not quite a mile anymore, like that. When he used to joke about that. But that being said, though, I've climbed Katahdin. I did it a long time ago when we were still in Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
That gives you dates it enough anyway, but I did it back when we were in Scouts, and I think I've talked about my experience climbing Katahdin. It was not easy.
Oh, for sure
I wish I was a lot older. I would have loved to be like our age now, and do it. And I probably will do it again. I didn't do Knife's Edge last time.
Didn't either.
Yeah, and I want to do it now.
Definitely.
Just to say I did. Throw my GoPro on my head and be like, oh, don't look down. Nice. Like that type of thing. So, but it's crazy when you get up to the top of Katahdin.
Yeah,
like,
so flat all the way around, and then Katahdin just like out of nowhere.
The boulder fields are very misleading too. Like, because you get up there and it's like, oh, we're almost at the summit. No, we're not.
Oh, no.
We're
So
almost
many false peaks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's part of the allure of hiking, though.
Yeah. I'd say for something more mellow, like the last 50 miles of the 100-mile wilderness, it's all like pretty cruisy and flat, and you're just following creeks and streams the whole way.
That's a beautiful part of our state too, is the 100-mile wilderness. And, I mean, if you don't get hit by a logging truck in Extension, the Golden Road, it's all really beautiful country out there. It's really untouched a lot. I mean, hence the 100-mile wilderness. It's very much untouched and just pristine,
it's gorgeous,
pristine country. But speaking of hikes, though, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, you just more or less wrapped up the Appalachian Trail. And that's I mean, as far as hikers go, is in North America, that's the top tier. That's one of the biggest things you can do. Yeah, you could go down to South America and do the Andes. I know they have trails and stuff. But as far as the up here in our hemisphere, this is the show. And that's nothing to be, I'm obviously, impressed. And I had, as I was talking to you before, I had plans to do the AT myself at some point. But again, my good old ACL blowout really kind of prevented that. But
they'll slow you down.
Yeah, a little bit, bit. Not too much, but a little bit. Yeah, no.
Just on the trail.
Especially on the trail.
Yeah.
But that being said, though, just have a lot of respect that you're able, and really, as a fellow, we grew up together, really kind of awesome, knowing somebody that, completed the trail recently. And so it's like, I got to have Sean on and talk with him about this, So when did you travel the AT, buddy? Like, when did you start? When did you end?
Yep. So I went down and started February 28th.
Yep.
And then finished August 18th.
2021. Yep.
2021.
Yep. Excellent. So so that's like almost 6 months of
straight. 5.5.
Yep. 5.5 months, 6 months of straight hiking.
Yeah.
Because that's what people need to understand about the AT. It's no day hike.
No.
Once you're on the trail, I mean, you can get there are spots. Obviously, you could get off if you need to bow out or whatever. But I mean, if you're in it for the long haul, you're in it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 2,193 miles. 0.1.
20. Wow.
That last 0.1.
It matters.
Yeah.
It matters. That really does matter. So obviously you started. Where does it start in Georgia? So you went south to north, which is technically how the trail is routed. You can go Maine to Georgia, but the technical proper route, I guess I'll put that in air quotes, but the proper route's from Georgia to Maine.
Yeah, and you call that NOBO, so you're going northbound, and then SOBO's coming from Katahdin down. And then also another way to do it that's starting to pick up steam is flip-flopping. So you kind of start halfway, and people usually go from Harper's Ferry, which is the halfway. They go north to Katahdin, then they catch a ride back down to Harper's Ferry, and then go south to Springer Mountain, Georgia is where it starts.
Springer Mountain, Georgia. Is that like pretty central Georgia?
It's kind of northern-ish.
Yep.
Yeah,
okay.
central,
so it's
central northern.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. I had my buddy of mine in college was originally from Georgia, and I asked him, I was like, have you ever gone over there? He goes, that's kind of out of the way for us. He was in Atlanta, so it's like that being said, What prompted you to take this trip? I mean, that's a large amount of time to do. I mean, I love hiking as much as the next guy, and I mean, but if you don't really have a love for it, it can be quite daunting. So, what prompted you to take this trip or do the trail?
Yeah, so another Augusta boy, Sam Hopkins. Good friend of mine. He's such a good kid. In 2019, he did it, and we'd be going skiing and stuff, and he'd be telling me stories. I'm like, you know what? Like, this sounds pretty good. So it was always kind of on my radar. And then working at Lucas, I was kind of looking for a way out of there. And then I got into lineman school, so I knew I was going to have a chunk of time.
Right.
And then it just kind of, the timing just worked
Everything
out.
worked out between that,
I was
global
able to
pandemic.
stop work in February and kind of prep, and then start the end of February and go right until 2 weeks before school started.
Nice. So did you do any, did you have any plans to do, did you have this long planned out, like, oh, I'm going to do the trail, or was it just kind of more like, not last minute, but you're just, did you do a lot of prep hikes beforehand, or were you just kind of like, you know what, this is the time, I'm going for it?
Yeah, pretty much. I decided late fall that I want to do it. So I did have a few hikes before the snow hit the mountains. And then from there, it's just kind of like,
all right, yeah, we're going. We're here.
Let's go for it.
We're here.
I don't think I'll have this chunk of time again, for a long time. And
that's the truth,
so,
right? Until we're probably like
trigger.
60, So.
Right. Yeah, I don't like thinking about that.
I don't like
that. It got on my system while I could, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take advantage of the opportunities when they knock. And so what type of things are, necessary? Obviously, you need to have a pack. And some sleeping equipment and a few other things like that. But what's in your your standard pack for AT hiker?
Yeah, so you kind of need to think of everything that you need to use, not necessarily what you want to use, but what you need. For that 5.5 months. So I mean, I had 2 pairs of underwear, 1 pair of shorts, 2 shirts, and like a puffy jacket. And that's pretty much it for clothing. You have 2 pairs of socks, so when one gets wet, you're wearing the dries, and you're trying to dry the wets. And then you need to get your sleep system. You need to figure out, are you going to be cold soaker for food, or are you going to bring a stove? So the cold
one of those
soakers,
little burners.
Cold soakers will just put their ramen in they use those gelato plastic little things. I forget what you call them. Jeez.
Like the Tupperware or something like that?
The little gelato things that come in the screw-on plastic caps.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. But they'll just put the ramen in there, add water, and then put it in their packs, and 45 minutes later, the ramen's soft enough to eat. So that's kind of like the most light way to go. But pretty much the name of the game is to go as light as you can. Just to save your joints and stuff like that. Make hiking more
sure you feel
pleasurable.
Everything.
Yeah, for sure. So my pack, they call it the base weight. So just your equipment with no water or food. I was under 15 pounds for that.
Is that like your goal? You want to be under 15 pounds?
Yeah, that's what I was shooting for. So then, lighter the better, for sure.
Lighter the better. Yeah, most definitely. Like, what were some of the what was like one thing you wish you had but you didn't end up bringing? Or if there is one thing you could narrow it down to.
I don't think I wanted anything more. I definitely got rid of stuff on the trail.
If anything, you wanted to jettison some stuff.
And definitely. I remember I had a pocket knife, and I'm like, I never used that. Send that back. And, and then once it started getting warmer, you send all your warm clothes back. And definitely, lighter the better, for sure.
Right. And now, since you started in February, was it too chilly down south? I mean, because I know, even historically speaking, because I mean, I've never spent a lot of time down south. Even the American Civil War, when they were fighting down in the south, they'd even stop during wintertime because it got cold enough.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, we're up in the mountains too.
True, right. Elevation, I can't forget that. That's a good point.
Honestly, for the whole length of the trail until Vermont, weather was very kind to us. We did have a 9-degree morning in Tennessee, which was... It was hard getting out of your sleeping bag that morning. It's not the only
10 you see, because it's not even 10 degrees out, in Tennessee. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, people's water bags were freezing and bursting and stuff like that. It was kind of a mess. But
below freezing, right?
So it got down to there, and then New York, it was damn near 100 degrees, so we kind of got both spectrums.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, once you start getting, you know as well as I do, New England in the summertime
Yeah.
can be good, or it can be really humid and
Everybody
crappy.
was
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, it's gonna be so nice and cool once we get to Maine." I'm like,
Wrong.
Well, yeah,
I beg to differ.
you just wait.
Yeah, just wait. Wait till we get there and you're sweating. And
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
you know that dry clothing we had? Yeah, it's drenched in sweat now. So.
Yeah, by 8 a.m.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. First hour of the day. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's funny. So the name of the game for any of you future AT hikers out there, light as possible.
Yeah,
light as
definitely,
possible.
for sure.
So when actually, I'll have to ask this though. When it came to like, you obviously had your phone on you or some type of device on you, right?
Yeah.
Do you have one of those solar chargers or something like that, or did you just
Yeah,
wing it?
so solar chargers, they're not great for the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah,
They
you have
call the actual trail the Green Tunnel because there's
Oh,
just trees
right.
pretty much the whole time. But everybody pretty much had like a little battery bank
Yep.
that would charge your phone up 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
And I mean, your phone would be on airplane mode or off
Right.
unless you're
Yep.
using it. So
Right.
I had my little charger and I never ran out of battery.
Yep.
I was able to go into town and charge it
Yep.
whenever I really needed to.
it? Yeah.
So,
yeah. No. Yeah. I figured it. I mean, like I said, when I go anytime in the woods, it goes on airplane mode
Yeah,
for the most
yep,
part.
yep.
Sometimes it's like I said, if I have charging access, I'll throw a headphone in. But you know, when you're doing something like that, you don't have to and don't want to and don't really need to.
Yeah, we did
especially-
listen to lots of music.
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
did. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. I
The
mean, when you're doing
monotonous.
enough hours a day,
Yeah.
like I mean, I'm sure you do need. Well, like you even mentioned, you know, before like you were listening to some podcasts
Yeah,
on the
listen
trail.
to your stuff. For
Yeah,
sure.
and I appreciate the hell out of that,
Yeah.
man. Like that's awesome. That means that we were taken along. I mean, we being me, the DuView podcast was taken along on the trail, which is
Yeah,
awesome. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Definitely
man.
remember the millet episode.
Yeah,
I think I was in Pennsylvania for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, like we were
Real
saying,
homesick.
it's a piece of home away
Yeah.
from home.
Oh, for
you
sure.
Know,
Yeah.
That and you know, it's just it's nice. It's a nice, you know, nice refreshing breath of fresh air. So,
Yeah.
but that being said, when you were on the trail, what would be like your general overview of a day? Like, what's a normal day? Wake up time? How many miles you do in a day, or did it matter state by state? You know, but what's like
Yeah.
an average day on the trail, if there is an average day?
Yeah. So pretty much our schedule. I was rolling with a trail family, so it's kind of there's 4 of us guys that pretty much did the whole trail together.
Yep.
So I would usually wake up around 7, and we had some younger guys, like 19-year-olds, and they'd sleep in a little bit.
Yep.
But usually we'd eat a quick breakfast. I usually would have like a big honey bun
Mhm.
as my breakfast, and then we'd roll out around 8. And then it's just pretty much hiking, eating granola bars,
Yep.
and just jamming out if you're into that. And we'd kind of talk before we left camp in the morning where we're going to meet up for lunch. So then we'd have lunch there, and then it was pretty much hike until dinner.
Yep.
And by then we'd like pick out a shelter. We're like, all right, everybody, we're going to meet here.
Right.
We're going to tent out for the night.
Yep.
And that was pretty much it. Rinse and repeat. If we had energy at camp, we'd make a little fire.
Yep.
But more often than not,
You're-
we'd just
you're hitting the
eat and
hay.
then
Yeah.
do our chores and go to
Be
sleep.
out for the night. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, I can think back when I didn't, you know, being extended out in the wilderness with no, you know, when I did that 50-mile canoe trip, you know, it was
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
We didn't even have time for campfires at night. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it rained every night anyway,
Yeah.
but we didn't have time for campfires
course.
at night because it was just you're paddling, you know,
Yeah.
X amount of miles a day, and you're done. You're tapped out.
Yeah.
You don't have any more energy.
Yeah.
Let's be real. You know, like.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you gotta cook. You
Yeah.
gotta you gotta eat, and then you gotta clean your stuff. It's a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
Throw up your tent. It's
Oh,
all,
yeah.
It's all work.
Oh yeah, it's all energy. That's
Yeah.
all. That's all food you need to be eating. I'm sure you burned more. You're probably pretty. You're a pretty skinny guy anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were probably pretty thin when you got back.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jacked legs and then twigs for arms. That's
So
it's
never
pretty much
skipped leg day.
The hiker bot. Yeah. Leg day every day.
That's the truth when you're hiking. So you said you hiked with 4 guys. Who'd you hike? You said you had a hiking like a trail family.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We'd call them tramleys.
Oh,
So
tra- oh,
pretty
yeah.
much, yeah. Pretty clever, right?
Yeah, I can't argue against that. Yeah.
So on the 3rd night, we met up with this big group, and I think there's 12 of us, and our name or whatever was the book club.
Mm-hmm.
And then people kind of splintered off from there. But I had a crew of 4 of us
Yep.
that we finished together.
Yep.
And then my good friend Highlander, he was a part of that at times.
Yep.
For most of the trail.
Yep.
But yeah, it was pretty much the 4 of us, and stuck together, which is pretty crazy. Nobody killed each other.
Yeah,
so.
hey, I mean, that means you guys got along well enough anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're on the trail too, and I mean, this is just from my limited knowledge of the culture of the trail, I guess I'll call it. You use special like trail names, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody's got a trail name.
Yep. Yeah. What was yours?
I was Meat Suit.
Meat Suit.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure there's a story behind that.
Yeah. Pretty much. I was hiking with my buddy Highlander, and
Yep.
he was saying, we were just like, we didn't know what we were talking
Yeah.
about. And I'm like, wind's crazy. He's like, yeah, wind is crazy. And then he says, yeah, we're just all suits of meat, just going around this rock.
Yep.
And I thought that was really funny. So
Yeah.
I started laughing. He's like, you're now Meat
You're
Suit.
now Meat. That's your name. That's your
Yeah.
name now. You think that's funny? That's your name now.
Yeah. Own it.
Own it. Yeah. And you did.
Yeah.
And you did for 5.5 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good one.
Did you have to get used to your real, like your Christian name when you got
It was
back?
weird.
Yeah.
What was really weird is if any of like my friends after the trail called me Sean. I'm like, wait, no, you guys know me only as Meat Suit.
Right.
So like, don't call me that Sean.
Yeah, who's this
Like,
Sean guy? You never knew him.
Yeah. He's dead and gone.
Yeah. Yeah, he died on the trail.
Yeah,
Day
yeah.
one. That's funny. What was your favorite part of the trail or favorite parts? Was there certain states that were really pretty or really
Yeah.
just enjoyable to go through?
Yeah. So Maine, it
Yeah.
was my top pick,
Yep.
honestly. I remember going through the Smoky Mountains, and it was like really pretty. There's a really old growth forest, and
Yeah.
it was like some great views and stuff. But I remember telling my friends, I'm like, just wait till we get to New England.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna blow your mind, because most of my friends are from down south.
Oh,
and
yep,
They
yep.
they never been to New England.
Well, they were definitely in for a treat by the time honestly, by the time you drag ass into is it real Western Mass? Or where does it pick up technically first or Vermont?
Vermont.
Vermont, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure how things
Yeah,
ran, but
yeah,
yeah. Once you drag ass into Western Vermont,
Yeah.
or Western Mass, even,
Yeah.
there's some really pretty spots out there.
For sure.
I even remember just like. Speaking of Western Massachusetts, I remember going down to like Amherst, UMass Amherst, down that way, and the drive out there is beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
like,
for sure.
holy shit, this is not Boston.
Right,
Like
yeah.
you actually have like
Yeah.
nature and good looking shit out here. Awesome, right on Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But,
Who would
I mean,
thought?
yeah, right, exactly. Who'd have
Yeah.
thought? But Vermont's beautiful too.
Yeah.
Vermont's just Maine moved over a couple feet
Yeah.
with a few less things,
Yeah.
with no ocean and
Yeah.
other things like that. But yeah, no, it's as far as New Hampshire, as far as New England goes, it's Vermont's pretty high up there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'd like to do more hiking out that way. I haven't hiked a lot in Vermont. I can count like on one hand how many times I've hiked in Vermont.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. When we went in Vermont, it rained every day for 14 days. And so we got like one good view.
That
So
sucks.
it seems like it'd be cool.
Right. I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
If I could see anything now that I'm
Yeah.
up here, I'm sure this is awesome.
Yeah, the mountains were tall. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, well, the green, you're probably in the Green
Yeah.
Mountains.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so when you're in New England, like, so would you actually not just New England, but what part of the trail would you say is most difficult? Like
I would say probably New Hampshire, Maine.
New Hampshire. Yeah, I was gonna say probably in the White Mountains out towards
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's a lot of up and down.
It's
you're going through like billy
crazy.
goat paths and such.
Yeah, you can see everybody would have an app on their phone. It's called Gut Hook. I think they changed the name of it now.
Yep.
But you could see the next day for elevation gain
Mhm.
and descent, and like stuff was wild. Once you hit New Hampshire, it's
Yeah, it's
like
just like
everything was like big peaks. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I would say that was the hardest for sure.
Well, even if you go into Western Maine where the White Mountains cross over
Big
into
time,
Maine,
yeah.
it's goat pass out there. I've gone. This was on four-wheeling, not hiking, but
Yeah.
I went from like Phillips Strong
Oh, yeah.
over on the Saddleback side or the Rangeley side,
Yep.
and we went up over Mount Abram
Oh yeah.
and down, and it was like down, 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 and then we just went up, 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 and I was just like, are we ever gonna get to the top of this? It's a goat path, and then a little goat path, big little goat path, I guess, and then we're in Carabassa Valley.
Yeah.
Right at Sugar. I'm like right at the the gas station, the big like with the sugar. I think it's like
Yeah.
the big gas station, Carabassa Valley,
Yeah.
across from the airport. You
Yeah.
come out right there.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
gotcha.
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now, and everybody's gonna be like, "It's been there forever. You grew up in Skowhegan. You should know the name." I can't remember. Sorry. But that being said, though, those, like I said, it can get really up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down,
time.
hiking. And that's, I really feel is more of a hiking in New England thing.
Yeah. Because other states, you would kind of climb up and you'd hit a ridge.
Yeah, and then you
And
go
then from
for
there,
a while.
you're coasting on the ridge, and then you go down, and then be more like another mild climb. But New England's just sharp
We got
peaks.
like false peaks up the
big
Waz, over
Yeah.
here. Like, I mean, that's, a smaller hike, but like Borestone. Love Borestone, but like the false peak, you get to one and it's like the other one's still way over there. It's like,
Yeah.
gotta go down, back down again, and then back up.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to hiking in New England, up and down.
Keeps you guessing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it keeps you in shape, keeps your knees honest, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say the hardest part of your trip was? What was the biggest obstacle you had to overcome? Or
Yeah. So I think the mental part of the whole trail started to really wear in Vermont.
Yep.
We're kind of,
How many months, by the time you got to Vermont, how long have you been on the trail at this point?
Oh boy, probably 4
4
months.
All right, so you got another at least month and a half of.
Yeah,
so.
It might be more than 4. Yeah, probably like 4.5.
You still got a good way to go though, but you've come a long way. You probably
Yeah.
feel accomplished, but you still realize we're not home yet.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
not even the home stretch really.
Yeah, and like the mental side of it is like, okay, I could be done hiking, and then also I never want to stop hiking.
Yeah.
So you're just constantly,
The
battling
highs and
those
lows
two things.
of loving. I mean, loving the sport. I guess I'll call it that.
Yeah,
It is more of a sport than a lot of things that are considered sports. So, loving the sport and, never, like you said, never wanted to do it again. You get done. And I'm sure, from the pictures, and I followed your journey on when you'd post on social media from time to time. And, it just looked like you guys cooked through pairs of shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I
the
went through
wear and
5
tear.
pairs.
That for me, I was just looking. I mean, the feet, your poor feet.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, your poor feet. Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pretty. Looked like you just like served in a war or something like that. And you're in the
Yeah.
trenches.
Broke 2 toes, like broke toenails,
Yep.
and then just being wet,
Yep.
and then rubbed raw.
Oh yeah.
They went through a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, like you said, you only got 2 pairs of socks, so
Yeah.
you're trying to. I mean, like they talk about in the military, like they talk about anytime you do anything with hiking, dry socks are your best friend.
Yeah. It was tough, and
Yeah.
then it rained every day in Vermont.
Right.
So you'd sleep with a pair of socks to try to get them dry.
Yep.
In the morning, you put on your dry pair of socks, and it'd be raining. It rained every day.
Yep.
So then you put up all your stuff, and your sleeping bag's wet, and your sleep mat's wet, and your tent's wet. And you put on your dry socks, and you put on your wet shoes. So like, all right, still dry socks, kind of.
I kind of feel stupid for doing this, but I have no other choice.
Exactly. And then you try to rock hop because the trail is 3 inches of water. It's just a stream.
Yeah.
So you're rock hopping, and within 15 minutes, 1 foot goes in the water, and you're like,
Done.
screw it.
Yeah,
And they're just squashing the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it Vermud,
Vermud?
actually,
Oh,
because
yep.
there's nothing but mud and rain. So that was tough. And then when we got into New Hampshire, I got Giardia in the whites,
jeez.
which was like, I've never been that sick.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
so I had to
sure.
hop off trail, and then I got back on right before Maine,
Yep.
and I was like not feeling great. My buddies were cooking, so I kept up with them. So those 3, like that big section right there was like the hardest, definitely.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
mentally,
sure.
for sure.
And it's funny because, like you said, you're the closest to home you've been
Yeah.
for 4 months at this point. However long it's been.
Yeah.
And yet you have probably the hardest part of the trail ahead of you.
Big time, yeah.
You
And
know?
you'd think your body's like in the best shape ever, but you're not. Like
Right.
you can't
But
eat
you're
enough,
not.
and like, you're just malnourished, and you're just tired.
Well, actually, you say you'd think you'd be in the best shape, right? But actually, in terms of like physicality and like health, you're
Yeah.
actually kind of in like the worst shape. Because
Exactly,
You've been
yeah.
out, like you've been, Tom Hanks castawaying it, like talking
Yeah.
to volleyballs and shit.
Exactly.
Getting
real weird.
Yeah, getting a little weird and losing weight, and then you're like, oh, I've got to go climb some of the tallest mountains.
Yeah.
Still, like,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. So that's exactly like even I like in North Carolina, Tennessee. I'm like, all right, like we can take a little bit longer because we'll be flying once we hit New England. And I was not right with that.
Yeah, the super highway was the couple thousand miles behind us.
Yeah,
guys.
exactly.
Yeah. So ultimately, you said that it took you about 5.5 months.
Yeah.
To do the trail. Have you? What is that the average, or do you think you kept a pretty good pace? In terms of
Yeah.
the grand scheme of things.
We
Like
were
how? What's?
we were definitely slow.
Yeah, we're slow. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the like the average? Do you know the average?
Yeah, it'd probably be like 4 months to.
Okay.
Yeah,
You got
probably
sick
more.
too, and a few other things, and I'm sure that slows you down a
Yeah,
little bit. You
and
know,
my trail family was in no rush, so we
Right.
took 26 0 days. So 0 is no miles.
Yep.
So we like took 26 days off.
Gotcha.
So I mean, take those days out.
Well, you're
some were
also-
definitely necessary.
I mean, from like seeing what you posted on social media and stuff, you're also exploring parts of the country
Yes.
too at the same time. Like
Yeah.
you guys looked like you were having a pretty good time.
Yeah.
Like even regardless if you were on the trail or not.
Yeah, big time. We like went to some crazy weird towns.
Yep.
Like Helen, Georgia sticks out. This place is like, it looks like Santa's village,
No shit.
and it's a whole town in the middle of Georgia. That's
It
just
looks
nothing.
like Santa's village.
Dude,
That's,
it was weird.
are they like standing in the balconies like, come in, come in?
Pretty
Like,
much. It was like, it was so bizarre. Santa's village, and then like German. Like it was so weird. So there's
boy,
some
that's
weird,
yeah.
weird towns
Well, it's
that
like
you
if you
just.
came-
I would
like-
never hear this
oh,
place.
boy.
You know.
Like you come in and like they're all speaking German or something. You're like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, did I miss?
They had like a beer garden, and
Oh.
it was. I mean, that was fun.
Yeah, that's
but,
awesome.
like,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
I was like, but am I like, did I go back in time? Did people
It was
relocate here that I didn't
super
know
bizarre.
about? Like
Like that whole like town committee got together and was like, "This is our thing.
Thing.
Like we're gonna be the Christmas
we're
town."
gonna be the Christmas town of Georgia.
yeah.
It's like, okay. I was
So-
like, did you go in like Santa's village, make a gingerbread or something? Like I don't
Yeah,
know. Like this
should've.
you should've.
So yeah,
Uh,
definitely took time to just relax and see some weird spots for sure.
I mean, you
Yeah.
got to though, and that's part of the grand adventure of those
Yeah.
things. Like, I mean, like drawing back to when I was on that canoe trip,
Yeah.
stopped in the village
Yep.
of Chizuncook Village.
Yeah.
You know, total population year round of like 3.
Yeah.
And again, we came into it as you heard, like in the middle of like a turf war between them and the people in Massachusetts. But it was like this little town that you're not gonna, unless you
Yeah.
you snowmobile or you're an outdoors person, you're probably not gonna step foot in this place in your normal life because it's like 5 hours by car to get to. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I think is really cool about either hiking, obviously, or snowmobiling, four-wheeling. You get to places that the average person
Yeah.
doesn't get to.
Yeah. Experience stuff that
Yep.
the average person doesn't experience.
And that's what I think. That's what living's about. That's just my opinion. I think it's like seeing all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. I agree with you. And yeah, like the saying on the trail is the last one to get out and wins.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much,
We're
when's the
playing
next
golf
time you're going
rules
to come
here,
out
guys.
here?
Yeah, like, yeah,
exactly. Just
exactly.
relax and enjoy it.
Well, that's what it's about too. Because if you take it too seriously, right, it almost becomes a lot like work.
Yeah.
And that's
for
part
sure.
of the reason why we do things like hiking is because it's not work.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my job. I love what I do. But at the end of the day, it's nice to just put your boots on, put your feet on the ground. Even if you're only going over to Winthrop to hike Mount Pisgah.
Yeah. It's like the only
I
thing
can
you have to
stand
worry
in that,
about,
that
right?
fire tower over there, and I mean, I know that used to, be the little quick hike or French's Mountain, but like I could stand up there and just sit there for hours,
Yeah.
like completely in silence, just
Yeah.
appreciating what's around.
Big time.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I think. I mean, those of us that grew up in this state are so lucky in a lot of ways because the beautiful stuff, being an hour away from the mountains, an hour away from the ocean, just becomes such a normal thing. Like I know, like Bill Green used to say, like on his program on Channel 6, like don't just brag about the fact that you're from, like
Yeah.
you can't just brag it on other people, and I do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm sure you did. Like
Yeah,
like
for
you were
sure.
saying, like when you're on the trail, just wait till we get to Maine, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I did say that a lot.
Yeah. So what was it like after being done? That must have been a real just routine change.
Oh, for sure.
and just sleeping on like linens.
Oh
and,
man,
like,
indoor plumbing was like wild.
Whoa.
They actually,
Showers. Like,
yeah, anytime you want, and like
Yeah.
I can charge my phone whenever
Whenever
I want.
I
That
want,
was
yeah.
so crazy. They actually, there's a term for it. It's like kind of sad, but they call it post-trail depression.
I mean,
And-
fair.
Yeah, I definitely felt that. I was lucky that 2 weeks from when I finished, I was going to go to line school, so I definitely had like that on my plan,
Yeah.
But it's really wild because I was with those guys every day. I was eating with those guys, and I was like sleeping right next to them
Right.
for 5.5 months.
Yeah.
And then you get back, and every day on the trail, you have a plan. You have a goal. You're like, all right, going to get here.
Right.
You're going to get here, and that's your day to day. And then you have the week to week, and then you got like the month. So it was weird. I was just like sitting around my house, like alone, like, what am I going to do? I'm like,
I
I
gotta
should
do
go
like
on a
28
hike.
miles today. Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah. So yeah, it was definitely a big change
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm
It was-
sure. I mean, like, again, I guess you appreciate the normal creature comforts and all
Yeah.
that type of stuff a lot more. But at the same time, you just kind of probably had some like separation anxiety from your trail family.
Yeah.
And
Oh, for
you
sure,
know, like
yeah.
some of that stuff. So it's crazy when we have really good experiences in our lives that we just almost don't want to let it quite go
Oh,
because
for sure.
because
yeah.
it's like like this was awesome. I don't want this to ever end.
Exactly, yeah.
Whether it's a vacation or whatever. But I mean, I understand it. Like I said. Mostly doing day hikes these days, but seriously, it's like
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want the hike to ever end, especially
Oh,
if it's a
for
good
sure.
hike.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like, seriously hope this trail goes on forever, but
Yeah.
obviously it doesn't. But at the end of the day, it makes the view and everything like that almost so worth it, especially when you have the make or break point. That's another thing I was going to say is the people that you choose to hike with.
Big
That's
time.
huge. Like, I mean,
Big
I
time.
know part of the reason I grew up to love hiking so much, Sean, is because like when I hiked with my parents growing up, they had friends that also liked hiking and their kids hiked. And so like sometimes the only time I would see my my friends is when we when you're young, you have all these little friends and all that shit,
Yep.
And so like that was the only time. So like it would be that, and it was like, but not like little piddly hikes, like we'd go down to Acadia,
Oh, yeah.
Beehive, front
Yeah.
side of Beehive,
Oh,
not the
nice.
back. I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
we did that. I timed it. My quickest going up the front side 10 minutes. There was nobody in our
Really?
way. We ran.
Holy
We had done it
smokes.
enough.
Yeah.
Like we had did it. I mean, like I knew every like turn.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be fair though, like this was before they had lines of people. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
posted a picture like I think back last summer
Yeah.
of people literally like lined up like in like man
Oh,
to
I've been
man,
in
like,
that line,
like,
and I'll never do it again.
I wouldn't. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
I
mean,
didn't realize it was gonna be like that.
and see, that's like I love national parks. I
Yeah.
think the idea of national parks are super important,
Yeah.
and just the conservation effort really needs to be refocused on in a lot of ways.
Big
like
time.
not make it so things like are not usable, like protect things so heavily that we can't enjoy them, but enough so that like there can still be a good clean environment,
Yeah.
and a good
Oh,
clean
it's
ecosystem.
tough. Like you want it available to everywhere, to
Right.
everybody. But then again, it's overcrowded, and like the trail would go through national parks and stuff, and
Yeah.
it would just be like it'd be a wreck.
Right.
It's like too many people. But
Yeah,
it's
no,
like, how
that's
do you
exactly
find
it.
that
Like,
balance?
I mean, I've talked about you go out to Yellowstone. It's
Yeah.
like have fun sitting in Boston level traffic
Yeah.
or LA level traffic.
Honestly, yeah.
And it's like this shouldn't be that way. Like I get it. Like it's one of the, and I mean it's good that we have it, but it's too bad that like they had to kill off all the buffalo. I mean it's just one of those things, and it's human nature, human history. But
Yeah.
I guess in a lot of ways the good hikers, the ones who don't litter and the leave no trace type folks, like ourselves.
Yep.
Like we're kind of stewards of the trails in a lot of ways, and
Yep.
part of the ways these things stay nice is if people have them. I guess we're going to start treating hiking a lot like fishing. Like, this is my secret spot. Don't tell anybody about this hike because, like, everybody's going to show up here now.
Yeah.
And that's like, I mean, that's kind of what Beehive is in a lot of ways, right? I mean, it faces right under the beach. It's easy to get to.
Yeah.
It offers a certain level of challenge if you want to go up the front. It's unique in a lot of ways because I mean, how many hikes in the state really use other than Precipice and Katahdin, really use like a lot of like more like almost climbing.
Yeah.
They almost branch out from hiking and become almost like a climb.
Yeah.
Because you're going up rungs and ladders and
Yeah.
ledges.
All the hardware.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
minus. Have you ever thought about being a hiker? Have you ever thought about doing like actual like rock climbing, or have you done any of that?
I would like to.
Yeah, me too.
Something I'd like to pursue.
I'm not very tall, and I always feel like having like short
God,
arms and
just
legs.
jump.
Dude. Just jump.
Yeah.
Ah! I'm down at the bottom again.
Yeah. I need chill on the hobbies though, so maybe I'll put that one off for a little while.
Yeah, I feel that. So I guess now that you've completed the trail, you have some definite wisdom to pass on to those who are thinking about it or are in the works of planning their hike. What advice would you give to somebody who's going to go do the AT?
Yeah. So I think that the trail is so popular that people they'll like vlog the whole thing. Like you can see day to day what people are doing for miles and stuff, and like that's okay. I think you should definitely use those videos as kind of like a starting point as to like how to situate your gear, like see what they're using and stuff. But like you gotta get out and hike. Like you gotta learn your body. You gotta learn what works for you.
Yep.
I think it's like so romanticized, and I think the best thing you can do is just start the hike. Like the hardest part of the trail is finding the time and the money to go out there and to do the trail. Other than that, you can go day by day. So that's important. And then what I did, and I'm like happy I did it, was for the whole, since fall to the day that I started the trail, I was visualizing the first 2 weeks I was going to be alone, I was going to be cold, and I was going to be wet. And I was like, that's what it's going to be,
just preconceptions, right?
Yeah, just kind of mentally preparing. Like, thank God none of those things turned out to be true.
Right.
But it did rain the first night, and I saw lots of people quitting that first day.
Yep.
And it's just, like, you got to just be prepared to be uncomfortable for a while, and it'll pay off. Like, you'll be wet and cold, and then the sun will come out, and you'll just turn into a lizard on a rock.
Right.
And it's like the best thing ever, You'll never forget that day.
It's learning to roll with the punches in a lot of ways. Like, if you're probably pretty good at that, which, I mean, knowing you, growing up with you, I know you are, and I am, we're pretty survival type people. We'll do what we need to do to get by.
Yeah.
Reinvent ourselves, or go back to school, or whatever that is.
Yep.
But it's very much rolling with the punches and just being able to adapt to different situations. Right, like you said, the first night it rained.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's separated. To use the line there. Separate the men from the boys, or the women from the girls, or whatever. Separate those who are going to go through it and those who weren't.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's I think that's good advice. I really do. I think that's sound advice, and it's just like, use what other folks do as a basis. But you gotta, and that's true with anything, that you're gonna do repetitively. You gotta learn yourself.
Big time. Yeah.
You gotta learn yourself, and like me, never used to hike with a knee brace. Well, now even though it's not like the one I used when I had surgery, now I hike, or at least I have it with me. It's something that I just need to have in my gear now.
Yep.
It's just the reality.
Being prepared. I mean, that's really important.
I faced that reality. It's like, all right, like, yeah, I could probably get away without it, but it's good to have it. Like, that's one of the things that I would never get rid of, like in those situations. So yeah, you got to learn what your limitations are and such. So yeah, you said you've been up to lineman school. That's taking up, I'm sure, a good chunk of your time. Have you liked that?
I love it.
Far? Yeah,
I think it's a perfect fit for me. So really excited.
Where do you? How much longer do you have of school? I know you said you started back. I guess it would almost be a year now. I guess, in a couple months, obviously, but
yeah. So it's 2 semesters.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be done first week of May. Hopefully, have a job before that.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Yep.
So
would you be working for like CMP or one of those outfits?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
nothing wrong.
That's the goal.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I
don't agree with lots of their stuff, but they treat their linemen the best.
Well,
so.
see, and that's the thing. Like, when I say, like, I've railed on here against, like, the corridor and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, when I say I don't like CMP, it's not like I work with linemen.
Yeah.
I mean, I run into linemen. I've become pretty friendly with a lot of linemen.
Yep.
And those are the guys who are awesome.
Oh,
the people who are working in the office, answering the phones and stuff. Those people are, and outages and stuff. Those are the awesome people.
Yeah.
The workers are the awesome people. What the people I have a problem with is Avangrid over in Spain.
Yeah.
Those, and and the fact
agree.
that like
Big time.
one of the crown princes over in the Middle East is one of the largest. Those are my
absolutely
my problems.
Exactly.
Like I said, I would have no problem if CMP just respected, again, me saying CMP, the Big Brother CMP.
I know exactly
if they just respected the wants of the people in this state, there's no reason that power needs to cost what it. I mean, we have the highest per kilowatt hour and one of the highest in the country.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, it needs to change for Maine to continue going forward, though.
Yeah.
You need to have a cheaper kilowatt hour. I know I've talked about that before, but we just got to get the price energy down, and regardless if that comes, renewables or fusion or fission or whatever, comes down the road, we'll have to run with that when the time comes. But well, I'm sure, like I said, you'll be, keeping the lights on for us. So, thank you. Hopefully,
Yeah, that's the goal.
So you must, obviously, how high up are you? How high is the pole there?
Yeah, so usually 40 feet.
40 feet. Yep.
That's just for like roadside.
Yep.
And if you get into transmission, it could be up towards like 75.
Wow.
Or even higher.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wouldn't want to be like when I was down in Cuba. All their telephone poles are made out of concrete.
Yeah, they do that down south in Florida.
I wouldn't want to be a linesman working on a concrete pole. I think that's kind of weird.
I think it's definitely weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're climbing that with their spikes.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta
definitely not with
yeah,
their spikes.
yeah.
I don't know how they'd climb it. They must just
well,
all
if
be
anything, you might
bucket
have a
work.
pulley at the top, and you just hoist yourself up, or I don't know.
Could
You know
be.
what I'm saying? I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
a whole
anything about
different
it.
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Literally a whole different world. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. But any shout outs for anybody
Uh,
while you're on?
I would just like to say what up to the Beardos, my buddy Highlander, and everybody in the book club, 'cause I assume they'll all listen. So
Yeah, right on. Well,
yeah.
shout out to you guys,
Yeah.
and anybody who's out on the AT right now having a tough time.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
one goes out to you. Keep it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, keep on chugging.
Yep,
You'll get
keep
there.
on trucking. Yeah, right on, man. Well, hey, Sean, thanks for coming on, buddy. This has been a great experience, just getting to sit and talk with you and get to see you again after a few years, and also highlight the AT. I mean, because like I said, that's been a really big fascination for me, and it's a huge part of the state of Maine too. Like I said, I'm trying to highlight the best parts of Maine life, buddy, and so the AT is a huge part of our state and our culture.
Big time.
Mount Katahdin especially, it's after the pine tree, it's one of our biggest symbols, in a lot of ways. So, like I said, Sean, thanks for coming on, buddy, and best of luck with your last couple months at lineman school.
Thank
Hope
you.
to see you out on a pole here pretty
Yeah,
soon.
let's
So,
do it.
all right, thank you all for tuning in this week, guys. It's been awesome. I hope you enjoy our little outdoor episode. I'll be back in a couple weeks with another brand new episode of the DuView podcast. In the meantime, keep track of all the good stuff on social media, the DuView podcast and DuView207 on Instagram. So keep listening, keep tuning in, keep liking those posts, guys, and leave a review if you got a time. Helps us out tremendously. So that being said, guys, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.